Welcome back to another video today, guys, and today I bring you one of my, definitely most stereotypical, but one of my favorite kind of builds, a transformation build from a, let's just say in D&D it's called lycanthrope. Lycanthrope? Yeah, I think so. Basically, you're becoming a sort of werewolf pseudotype. To my knowledge, there is no complete werewolf transformation. You got Barbarian of the Beast, where I think the cover art is just basically grow fangs and claws. You don't truly turn into a full-blown werewolf, although there's always theater of the mind, and maybe it is a true transformation. There's really no difference, and there would be no change, but the cover art doesn't show you as a complete werewolf. And there's also Blood Hunter, the subclass, I think, Lycan subclass, which is what we're going to talk about today. And that one's more of a, I would say, a true D&D transformation. The cover art may not show you being a true werewolf, like, completely, but it is basically what I would call the werewolf class, the Blood Hunter subclass Lycan. Only because it is giving you a lot more than the Barbarian of the Beast class would. And it gives you the name of the disease, which implies this was meant to be the class to be a werewolf. There's also a natural way you can become a werewolf in D&D through getting infected by one. And if your DM's nice, they'll let you start off having some sort of werewolf transformation. But when I looked that up, the only way to turn into that kind of thing is during a full moon, while the Barbarian of the Beast and the Lycan are just bonus actions to my knowledge. So those can be done anytime, a certain number of times per long rest. So let's get into it. Of course, I have everything that I perceive as easy, things DM would allow. I don't like Rick and Morty content. I like to play my games more realistic. But let's get on to the race. There's many races you can pick. Some of them more better than the lizard, in my opinion, especially since you get a +1 to wisdom, which is a stat in this build you will not need. Luckily, since one of the books, I forgot which one exactly, you're allowed to change your origin abilities to best fit your character. So I've done that here. If not, just choose one that gives a +1 to Constitution and Strength, or Intelligence. As long as it has Intelligence, Strength, or Constitution as a racial trait, you should be fine. I didn't really need Dex, Charisma, or Wisdom for this one. Another good thing about the lizard is the bite goes well with the werewolf build. You get to make a bite as a attack, plus your Strength modifier. Wait, what does that say? It's piercing damage instead of bludgeoning. It's a little complicated, but the thing is, you get some HP back with Hungry Jaws. You can make a bonus action to attack with your bite. If the bite hits, you deal more normal damage. You gain temporary HPs based on 1 or equal to your Charisma modifier. You can't use this trait again until you finish a short or long rest. Which, that's just to nerf it. I get how you don't want your players healing every attack. That would be OP. But I just find it funny. It states that you can bite, but you just won't get HP back for a long rest. Natural armor is 13 plus your dex. You can use normal armor to determine your AC if you would like. A shield benefit applies as normal when you use your natural armor. You also get to hold your breath, cunning, arson, you can skin animals a lot easier, many different stuff. Your natural speed, your walking speed is 30, and your swimming speed is 30. That's great for me because, for a little flair to my werewolf build, I'm more of a were-crocodile, in my character. If you want to be whatever you want to be, a were-elf, a werewolf human, just normal werewolves, but since I'm a lizard, I just call it a were-lizard, and I'm just a giant crocodile when I transform. Because it makes sense with the speed. Just flavor text. It changes nothing. Your DM will allow it, unless they're just an asshole, but you know how it is. Okay, let's get to the build. So the first thing is your hunter lore choices. What I chose was stealth and perception. Makes very good sense with hunter lore. I really didn't change it with the origin manager, allowing you to change your proficiencies because they fit very well. So we got race out of the way. We'll come back to class and abilities later because I want to get the background. Backgrounds can be anything. Me, I have a custom background, of course, because none of the backgrounds in regular is good. I just chose survival, so if you want to my background, so nature and survival. I would like an intimidation in there, but it did not fit my backstory, so I did not do it. So let's go to abilities. So my starting abilities, point by, of course, if you roll, what you want to have is your highest to be Constitution, then Strength, then Intelligence. Your Wisdom, the way I'm playing it, does not need to be high. I will tell you, if your Wisdom is low, when you transform into a werewolf, every turn, at the beginning of your turn, you have to make a Wisdom save of 8 or higher. If it's 8, you're good. If it's below 8, you will go into a sort of frenzy and attack the nearest creature. So, your Wisdom is sort of important depending on the fight. Very situational. Most of the time, you're going to be in the midst of combat, so your teammates hopefully won't be right next to you, and you have to roll a die if there's multiple creatures next to you, so which one you're going to hit. Charisma, I like base. I always like role-playing. Charisma really helps with that. Now it just helps me get into D&D. Dexterity is a very important stat, I will admit, for this build, since your armor is going to be based on the barbarian armor, because this is going to be going into multi-class, by the way. So dexterity would help. I just had no reason for it, especially since the build I'm doing is going to be a mostly tank build, as you're going to be taking half damage most of your life. Okay, so let's get on to class. So what you're going to choose first, of course, is the Blood Hunter. Mostly that instead of Barbarian, because your save's going to be Dexterity and Intelligence, which is going to help with some creatures. That's always great. And your proficiencies are going to be stuff you're also going to be going into. Let me just change, because I forgot what my proficiencies are going to be, actually. Oh, that's not control. Control? No? Okay, buttons. Oh, there we go. Okay, that's my backstory. Don't need that. Strength, skill, survival. Level 1. Athletics, acrobatics, and investigation. The 3 bread and butters. This is going to help you be a werewolf. You're going to be able to climb. You're going to be able to just do physically straining stuff. And for the investigation is when you're a blood hunter, because blood hunters are very knowledgeable of the fey, mysterious, undead stuff, It's no optional. Yeah, it's no optional features. Blood curse. I chose my first blood curse as I think I chose the eyeless, and it's only because this is more of a tank blood hunter, and I don't see any use for the other things, especially since this is a very bonus action heavy class. Like very heavy. You're going to be using your bonus action a lot. So anything that has reactions is really good. And this helps you prevent you from being attacked as well. Now we're going to go straight to, I think, going straight to level 5. So let's go ahead and do that. And then we'll talk about the rest. So, at level 2, you're going to choose your fighting class. And me, I chose great weapon fighting, because as my blood hunter, I'm going to use 2-handed weapons. I don't think there's a problem with this, to my knowledge. I'm pretty sure you don't need a one hand to cast like a Crimson Right or something like that, to my knowledge. I do not think you do. If I'm completely wrong, I'll take down this video and re-upload another one with a single weapon, but to my knowledge, you don't. I chose... What did I choose? I think I chose Frozen. Yes, cold damage. This goes well with the werewolf. Blood Hunter order. This is where you're choosing the Lycan. I have not actually read any of these, so I don't even know if these are cool, but the Lycan, I just knew immediately I wanted to be a werewolf when I chose this class. You're going to get heightened senses, which allows you to make advantage on wisdom perceptions that rely on hearing or smell. Hybrid Transformation. This is nothing you have to do. Stay normal for now. But whenever you transform, you have to come back to this character sheet and then choose the hybrid form to get all the stat bonuses of your werewolf form. I find that very interesting. I wish there's a faster way to transform, but that's fine for me. At level 4, you're going to get something that I forget. The way this build is made at level 4, the first thing you want to do is have +3 in your strength and con. So that really helps there. Actually, I think it's +4 in con, +3 in strength. Let's check that out real quick. Let's go to my page. Yes, +3 in strength, +4 in con at level 4. Decent health at 54, but you're going to be taking half damage. Always nice. Level 5, you get your extra attack. Everyone loves that. And as in a werewolf transformation, which maybe I should go over the features for you real quick. You gain a +1 to melee damage. The bonus increases by 1 at 11, 8, and 18. So you'll have +3 at 18, +2 at 11, +1 right now. You have advantage on strength checks and saving throws. Now that sounds very similar to Barbarian. So you're wondering why are you getting Barbarian at this point? It just seems like redundant stats. And you're right. This build isn't meant to be the best. It's meant to be fun. And I'm probably going to be raging in normal form, and then when I transform, not be raging. Because you can't stack resistances. So, this helps my normal fighting, but this right here, the Feral Might, helps me in transform state. You have resistance to bludgeons, piercing, and slashing from non-magical attacks, not made by silver weapons. That is weaker than the Barbarian's Rage. Because anything magical or silvered will hurt you. Meaning, most bosses, you won't be taking half damage, but that's when you can use Rage and Transform at the same time. Just so you know. Try to help your DM keep up with this. They will forget. I will forget. And, well, if I was the DM, I'd forget. It's just hard to keep track of. When you're not wearing heavy armor, you gain a +1 bonus to your AC. That is really good. +1 may not seem like a lot to people, but sometimes it really does help, especially when you get above 15. A +1, it gets better because some creatures don't have like a +16 to their attack hit. Predatory Strikes allows you to apply Crimson Right to your unarmed strikes as a single feature to your unarmed strikes as a single weapon. So that means when you cast Crimson Right, you can use it with your unarmed strikes to increase your damage. Dexterity instead of strength, which means you could use either or. When you attack with the attack action with an unarmed strike, you can make an unarmed strike with a bonus action. It's very similar to a frenzy, except after you transform, you don't have to, like, after you transform, which is basically your rage, you don't have to frenzy. You just immediately get the unarmed strike bonus action. So it's a little quicker than your normal barbarian frenzy. So you get 3 attacks at level 3, which is great, you know. But you transformations are limited, by the way. I think it's 2 transformations, to my knowledge, at such a short level. Okay, let's continue this. You also get Bloodlust, and this is where the wisdom comes into play. Also, your unarmed strikes are make a 1d6. Damage increases to 1d8 at level 10. Bloodlust, you begin your turn with no more than half your maximum HP. You must succeed on a DC 8 wisdom saving throw, or move directly towards the nearest creature and use your attack action against a creature. So, once you are below half HP, you will begin to have some problems in a fight if it's more of a 1v6 and your group is all melee. You might have some problems hitting your teammates, but luckily you only have to make 1 attack. You don't have to use your extra attacks. But if you do stop, you lose your attack action. You can't just attack with 1 attack, to my knowledge, and then use your extra attack against the main enemy. If there's more than 1 possible target, roll a randomly determine the target. You then regain control of your remaining action of your turn. So that's why I think, I'm not sure, that you lose the rest of your attack action, because it's the remaining part of your turn. That might be it isn't worded correctly, or at least very clearly. It is definitely worded correctly. But I don't know if you would get to use the rest of your action. It says use the attack action. You choose whether or not to use your attack action feature for the rest of this frenzied attack. Does that mean you can move? Don't really know. I'll probably look that up later. You'll probably need to look that up too, or just ask your DM. If you're under the effects that prevent you from concentrating, like Barbarian's Rage feature, you automatically fail the saving throw. This is another main problem of this build, is that if you rage and transform, that could be a huge problem. There's either two things you're doing in a fight. You're either raging at the very beginning of your turn to take half damage, or you're transforming. You don't want to be using both unless you're fighting a main enemy that uses magic weapons to get that half damage. It is going to be a problem, but every build must have some sort of problem, and this is definitely one. Just make sure your teammates, eventually, maybe even through roleplay, know that once you rage, things are going to become a little difficult, and maybe they should start attacking other enemies and let me focus on my enemy and not try to help me, or it might become a problem for all of you. I wouldn't say this is an anti-teamwork build. I just think it's fun. Just don't be a douchebag player and like purposely target your teammates and like go to where they're fighting an enemy and you know your next turn you're gonna frenzy on your teammate. Extra attack level 5. We already discussed that. Okay, now we're gonna move on to after level 5. We are going to want to where are the 4? Yes, Barbarian 1 and 2. My bad. Kind of hard to read. After this, you're going to want to multi-class into Barbarian. And you're going to want to go to level 2 immediately and stop. You can maybe even go to level 1 and stop and then go back to level 2 later. But the reason you're going to level 2 is not for the rage, so it is for the unarmed reckless attack. For your first level, you'll get rage. While raging, you have advantage on strength checks. You already got that with Werewolf Transformation. When you make a melee attack using your strength, you gain bonus to the damage roll that increases as you level as you gain as Barbarian, which you're going to have a +2 because you're not going to be that high level in Barbarian. So every attack you do has a +2 while raging to damage, which is always great. You have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage, but you don't have the minor fluke of it being magical or silver. If you're able to cast spells, you can't cast them or concentrate on them while raging. So that's the reason, you'll be raging as a werewolf if you use rage with the transformation. So once you get to level at least 1 in Barbarian, you're going to have your Constitution be added to your AC. And right now you have a +4 Constitution added on to your base AC of 10. You're going to have a 14 AC compared to your 13 when you're a lizard. Which is another reason we start off with lizard, because they get a starting AC of 13. Instead of having AC of 10 to level 6 would be a little bit of a detriment, admittedly. You could always wear armor if you were a human. Scale mail is decent, has disadvantage on stealth, but it's a trade-off you're going to have to pay for. After level 2 in Barbarian, you are done with that. Oh, I forgot to mention, reckless attack, advantage on all attacks. You can do this even while being in a transformation. But remember, the attacks have advantage on you if the enemies attack you next turn, after you do reckless attack. Danger sense, advantage on dexterity saving throws, always great. I think you get this as a werewolf too. We'll see as we go down, but I don't think you do actually. But it helps with dexterity saving throws, always great. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to advance all the way to level 18 at Blood Hunter. I don't know why it says I'm going to level 20. That's impossible. But now we're going straight to level 18. But we'll go little by little. Let's go to 6 right now because you get a new thing. You get an extra blood curse, which I chose. Let's see what I chose actually, because I completely forget. Curse of the Marked. Yes. Allow you to focus on your main target. You're most likely going to go after the biggest creature. You can make a target that can see within 30 feet of you until the end of your turn as a bonus action. So that's after you transform or rage. You have to do that next turn to forgo your third attack. Whenever you deal right damage to a target, you roll an additional Hemocraft? Hemocraft? I actually do not know how to pronounce that. You know what? 1 second. We're going to fix this right away. Not the right word. You know what? We're just going to call it Hemocraft. There we go. I'll try to look it up. Did not work. So basically, you roll 2 of those, which I think at the very start of your class, you get to roll. You get to roll something. If I was smart. Curse of the Marked allows you to roll additional Homocraft die. Of course. So it's a 2d6 damage instead. Next, we're gonna go straight to. Let's go straight to 10. Let's pick it up a little bit. Straight to 10. You get another Blood Curse, and for this one, I chose Mudded Mind. Helps you attack those darn mages who just really like feel like they should just stop casting magic. You want that wizard to be bad at concentration? There you go. That hold person on your entire team, now gone, hopefully. And you can amplify it to give disadvantage on all concentration saving throws to maintain concentration spell to the end of your next turn. This is just for wait, okay, let me read it, sorry. 30 feet is a concentration spell. The creature has disadvantage on the next constitution. Okay, that's just next. This is all. So this is one attack you can do, a one attack action. This is your entire, this is just all of them. So yeah, be wary. You get one chance with this one to throw an attack and get them to not concentrate. This one, your whole team gets a turn. It's always great. You could always cast this at the end of your turn and let the mage handle it with like a disintegration. So teamwork going into that build. It's always nice. Crimson Roar, your second option. I'm choosing Storm because I like the idea of cold damage, lightning damage, and then thunder damage. Flame is also good if you just want to have very versatile claws. You're basically going to have at least a something that can hurt your. If you're fighting a fire giant, use frozen. If you're fighting a frozen fire giant, that sounds very wrong. A frozen giant, frost giant, I think is what they're called. You can use storm, or if you have fire, use fire. You know, use what you have against the enemy you think is good. Try not to meta game, blah blah blah. Be a good player. You know, the usual. After 10, you get stuff like Brand of Castigation. One of those two words. I am not good at pronouncing words, and you should see that when I DM. I might do some DM stuff one day. At level 6, you can choose to sear an arcane brand on an enemy, basically. Each time the brand enemy deals damage to you or a creature you see within 5 feet, they take psychic damage equal to your intelligence modifier, which I think is a +1 right now in my base character. Or is it a +2? It's +2. So they'll take 2 damage every time they attack you. Which, in each of the multi-attack, they might be taking more than 6 to 4 damage per turn. Always great to have that. And that's doubled later at a certain point. Here's where your bread and butter is. 7 is where you're going to start improving a lot of things. At level 7, your speed increases by 10. This is your natural speed, by the way. This is not just your transformation. 10 feet to your jump distance and height to your jump. In addition, the hybrid form gains improvement predatory strike feature, which is when you attack, you now gain a +1 bonus to attack rolls made with unarmed strikes. The bonus increases by 1, 2, and 3 at 18. In addition, when you have an active Crimson Right on your hybrid form, which you should always be having, your unarmed strikes are considered magical for the purpose of overcoming resistance and immunities to non-magical attacks. This does provide, again, a very heavy bonus action thing, because now you need to transform, and then a bonus action again to have Crimson Right on your claws. To be fair, Crimson Right is very easy to have. You need to have it on a weapon you can hold on a single active turn. So what this means basically is that you need to basically, okay, It's very hard to explain. I'm trying to say this in a word that would make sense to everyone. Basically, when you use a bonus action to activate the Crimson Right on a single weapon, you have the right until you finish a short or long rest. It does not have a time limit. It has a condition to where it will end, which is a short or long rest, or if you aren't holding the weapon at the end of your turn. That is what a Crimson Right is. So you cast this. You could cast this as soon as you wake up, but as long as you're holding that weapon in your hand throughout the entire day, it will be on you. But then again, try not to hold a weapon with magic casted on it at a guard's face. You might get guards get a little antsy when someone has a dagger out, if you know what I mean. Or they might, just ask the guard if someone stole your sweet roll. Stuff like that. And when you have an act right, you lose a number of hit points equal to the one roll of your Homocraft die, as shown in the Homocraft blood table. So just be careful, you will lose HP every time you cast this. And at the higher levels, it's a 1d10, which I think is the highest. For the duration, attacks this weapon deal additional 1d4 damage, 1d6 at higher levels. The damage is magical and increases gainish levels of Blood Hunter. See, this is where I was looking for earlier, but could not find it. Okay. That's what it does. Basically, you're going to have to bonus action, transform, and then bonus action, use Crimson Right to have magical claws. Not only that, but a barbarian again, you're gonna have to bonus action again to become enraged if someone with a magic weapon is hitting you, because you don't get half damage as a werewolf if they're magical weapons. So maybe you can reduce this by casting. See, this is what you'd have to talk to about your DM. Can you cast Crimson Right on your fist before you transform? That's up to your DM. I could see that. I would probably wouldn't allow it because it makes no sense, because your transformation makes you grow your claws with your weapon, so I would not allow it as a DM. So there's that. For your next ASI improvement, level 8, it's just going to be straight Constitution, because now your AC is 15, and Werewolf it's 16. So your AC is going to be 16 while you transform, 15 while you're not. That's always going to be great. You are going to be not as tanky as some of my other builds with this, but you're going to have a lot more versatility, especially with the Striker's Prowess. You're going to be able to jump over long distances easily. Maybe advantage on acrobatic checks for certain gaps in the floor you jump over. Your DM probably shouldn't even make you roll stuff for 10 feet of jumping added onto your normal athletics check, because you're probably going to be jumping with your strength modifier and a base of 3. You're going to be jumping almost 20 feet, and that's a huge distance, and that does go to your movement speed. So you can't just jump, then run 5-10 feet and jump again, increasing your movement to 60 feet. Here we got level 9, your Grim Psychometry. When you reach level 9, you have a supernatural talent for discerning the history of any fae, undead, or I wish it would say it straight out. Touched by evil is basically what it says. It will say it up here. See, this is maybe... I love D&D Beyond, and this definitely doesn't hurt it. Fae, fiends, or undead. That's what it is. Wait, no, it's not. I think that is a different ability. This is my bad, D&D Beyond. Hunter's Bane allows you to do that. I am reading this wrong. It's your mystical object you're touched by evil. When intelligent history checks are recalled about information about darker past surroundings and objects you're touching or location you present in intervals, information gleaned often leans towards the more sinister influence of the past, sometimes conveying visions of things previously unknown to the character on higher rolls. Okay, so that's more of a kind of vision thing. I thought that was the same thing as Hunter's Bane. That is my bad. Dark Augmentation. Upon reaching level 10, your arcane blood magic fuses your body, permanently reinforcing your resilience. Your speed has been by 5 feet permanently, so I think that's now 15 feet permanently. Your speed is now should be around 45 with a base of 30. When you make a strength, dexterity, or constitution save, you gain a bonus to the saving throw equal to your intelligence modifier. So a +2 right now to strength, dexterity, and constitution, which is already very high. you're probably guaranteed to pass either one of those things pretty much instantly, especially since you have an advantage on dexterity as well. Remember that. Next, we're going to go straight into level, let's say 15. Let's go by fives, even though, oh wait, that is not. This is where you level up. Let's go straight to 15. We'll get another blood curse, which I chose. If I look back on my character block sheet, you get the new right and a new blood curse, and I chose the blood curse of agony, bloated agony, which if the fight drag on long enough, you might want to use this. At the end of your turn, you curse a creature. For the duration, the creature has disadvantage on dexterity and strength saving throws and takes 1d damage if it makes more than one attack during its turn. The way I'm reading it now is it only procs once. So if they make 3 attacks, they still only take 1d8 damage. And then the amplified curse, they last for 1 minute. At the end of each turn, the cursed creature can make a Constitution saving throw, which a lot of creatures have Constitution saves, so let's just ignore that. I did forget the amplification on 2 others, so we'll go over those real quick. You amplify the curse to a creature's attack rolls until the end of its next turn. You roll a new Homocraft die for each affected attack. So really good if you just don't want, if they can attack multiple times. But remember, you are subtracting health every time you amplify with the Blood Hunter. The next attack roll you make against a target before the end of a turn has advantage. That's Curse of the Marked. Again, really good against wizards. Again, you probably will never use this because you're going to be reckless attacking a lot. So that's that. And then for 14, you finally have Dead. There are also Roar, Oracle, and Oracle. And I think Psychic is like the best meta thing to pick because not creatures have resistance against Psychic. And I do need to change my sheet because I'm actually choosing Roar for this, as it goes well with the loud and very aggressive character I'm playing. Thunder damage seems a lot more going with the character since it's right of the roar, in my opinion. You know, it's a werewolf. It's going to roar. Dead is necrotic, of course, and that is also very helpful. I don't think many enemies are resistant to necrotic that are alive. So now we'll go down to level 11, where you get your advanced transformations, and when your build is really good, so at level 13, at level 11, you unleash the control more of your beasts. You learn to unleash control more of your beasts. You can use your hybrid transformation feature twice, which I was wrong. You only get to use it twice at level 11. So be very conservative. You have 2 rages and 1 transformation. Just remember that. You're getting all expended uses when you finish a long or short rest. Note a short rest. You're going to have at least 1 short rest per day, usually. In addition, your Hyperform gains the Lichen Regeneration feature, which, oh boy, if you reason why we chose this class right here, you're going to be regenerating a lot of HP. A lot of HP. This is when you're truly the werewolf tank, and you can just jump in there. At the start of each of your turns, before you roll for Bloodlust, you regain HP point equal to your 1 point plus your Constitution. At this level, you're going to be regaining 6 HP per turn. Not only that, but also let's finish this. If you have at least 1 HP and no more than half your HP, half of your HP left. So this will only affect when you're at half HP. Good to note that. If you're don't sacrifice half your HP by running past 10 enemies to go for the boss. Play it smart, because it's still limited. It's only a slight regeneration, and there will be a limit. Your HP is going to be very high, as you can see. I'm only at level 15, which is pretty high, but let's show you what it would look like at 11 real quick. 149. You're still going to be pretty dang tanky. Just be careful, you know. Don't be an idiot. Your bite you get every bonus action, not every bonus action, once per turn, is going to have 5 temporary hit points. So on 1 turn, you can gain 11 HP back. That's basically a cure wounds for most characters. And if you have a cleric, life cleric, you're going to be regenerating about half the HP they would heal every turn. with a single cure wound or a healing word, I think is what it is actually. But you know what I mean. You're gonna be regenerating a lot, and you're gonna be able to stay in the fight a lot more. At higher levels, when you're fighting like ancient dragons, it's definitely not useful when you take 90 damage per turn, but it will save your life a couple times in most fights. Again, we already chose these. I'm going to re-choose them as they are just in the way. Crimson Right, Roar, they get a 14. You can tell that. Advanced Transformation, and after that, you get ability score. I already know what I'm choosing for this. You want damage right now. And Strength will help you get that damage. You can always increase your Wisdom if you want to. You can always also increase your Dexterity for a higher AC to not get hit. I like to do damage. I like to destroy things. So I'm keeping it with just all-out strength and con, baby. After 15, you only have a few levels left. And you'll be going to 18 and stopping. At 18, you're going to get your final Blood Curse. Which is, to be honest, I forgot. So let's look at that. Your final Blood Curse and be Anxious. Okay. This is just to help you roleplay a little more with the intimidation factor as you're a giant werewolf. And the reason I chose this last instead of before is mostly because how I'm doing this character is my transformation is getting worse and worse as I level up. Because you get Advanced Transformation at 11, and then you get the full Transformation Mastery at 18. If you ever get that level, that's great. If you want to roleplay that you're a full-blown werewolf at lower levels, that's just not how my character's works. His curse is getting worse. He's becoming more lichen than every level up as he turns more into a beast crocodile. That's how I'm just roleplaying my character. So let's get rid of these. The way Brand of Tethering at 13, your psychic damage from your brand of castigation. You know it? I'm not going to try it. You know that word? I know that word. What it means, what it's for. We just don't know how to pronounce it. By we, I mean me. Increase to twice your intelligence modifier, so that damage every time they hit you is doubled at 13, allowing for one attack to make them take 4 damage per attack. Pretty good. Hardened Soul. When you reach level 14, you have advantage on saving throws against being charmed and frightened. This is definitely you're the main problem of your build, even at level 14 when you get this, because your wisdom is so low. Hopefully you have a support. Hopefully you get a magic item that helps with that. A good support, freedom of movement, is always great. A hold person is not fun. Anything to get rid of charms is probably going to be your best friend, as being charmed in fighting your team is not good. It's never good for the frontliner to be charmed. If there's any support classes out there, the DM is being nice to you so much by not charming your frontliner, especially if the charm is to turn them against you. There's so many TPKs out there just because no one prepares for their frontliner to be charmed and them turning on you, because most of the charms some charms are actually just charms. Like you have to get them down. You have to beat your teammate in a 1v1 and or 1v2, 1v3 to get them uncharmed. But most charms do have a DC or a concentration on them. Not a DC, just a concentration in general, where if you do enough damage, they might get uncharmed. Whether you have to attack them or the creature who cast it. Just be aware. Being charmed you're gonna be charmed if you're playing this build. You're gonna be frightened if you play this build. You don't have a level 9 in Barbarian Berserker to prevent charms and other stuff. I think you have to be a Barbarian. Yeah. I don't see it here. I think you have to be a Berserker to do it. Just be aware. You can be charmed. It's very dangerous. It's very scary. We got this one as 2. You have advantage on your wisdom saving throws to maintain control of your bloodlust and hybrid form. In addition, now binds your foes to your hunter's thirst for savvy, while on a higher form your attacks have advantage against a creature branded by you, which is great. You know, reckless attack is still always going to be used, but now sometimes you might not have to use it. Just remember when this is active, so you don't have to have advantage on enemies attacking you. It's always a plus right there. And wisdom saving throws to maintain your control of your bloodlust is always great. If you're raging, this doesn't matter. Sorry, you're going to be attacking whatever you see first. 16. It might be surprised, but it's actually more strength. You want to be swiping at those claws and be dealing damage all the time. There's no way you're not going to be dealing damage with this build. You're going to destroy people. And now your hybrid transformation mastery. The bread and butter. You now have unlimited hybrid transformations for an unlimited amount of time. You can stay a werewolf for your whole life now. Or a were-lizard, whatever you are. It's just that good. You also gain a blood curse of your own, the Howl blood curse, and it does not count against your current blood curses. Now, what this Howl blood curse does is, I think it's pretty effective. Like, of course, you're going to have to take a bonus action to use it, but it's still one of the best ones in my opinion, if I can find it. Actually, why isn't it here? Shouldn't it appear here? Curse of the Howl. It's at least right here. As an action, a full action, my bad, not even a bonus action, a full action, you can unleash a blood-curdling howl. Each creature within 30 feet of you can hear you, must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be frightened until the end of your next turn. Your next turn. A full turn where they have to run away or attack another teammate of yours close by. If they fail their saving throws by a whole only 5. Your DC is going to be, I think, pretty high at 18. Just remember this. They are stunned while frightened in this way. A creature that has succeeded on a saving throw is immune to this blood curse for the next 24 hours. You can choose any number of creatures you can see to be affected by this howl. Unaffected, I mean. So you can choose not to have your teammates be affected by this. Range. You can amplify it, which is only a 1d10 at this level, to subtract to your HP. So hopefully you roll low. The range of the curse is increased by 60 feet. To 60 feet. Not increased by 60 feet. That'd be 90 feet. My bad. But yes, to 60 feet. And now let's see the end result of this build. What you can do. First, let's look at your DCs for your blood curse, because we just mentioned that. Bonus action. Most of your blood curse can be bonus action. It is 16. Most of these aren't going to be used against the big bad. Admittedly, they're not very high. If you had 3 more in intelligence, it'd be 19. But you do not. You're not really the most intelligent thing. I mean, you're pretty intelligent with 14. You're definitely, very intelligent. But the way this build is, the DC is not going to be high with your intelligence. The blood curse is DC 16 as well. So wisdom save. Not many creatures have wisdom. Just remember that. And if they fail, they get 11 or lower, because it says they fail their save by 5 more. 11 or lower, they will be stunned. Let's look at the stun condition real quick. Now, I think it's maybe it's not as OP as I thought. A stunned creature is incapable, can't move, and can't speak. A creature automatically fails save and dex saving throws. Fails strength and dex saving throws. So spellcasters, this is how you erase some motherfuckers. And attack rolls have advantage against creatures, which means you don't have to reckless attack. Another thing to help you with that. It's not as good as something like incapacitated or I think paralyzation. Remember, it also might add frightened. Has a disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls while the source of its fear is within line of sight, which is always good. A creature can't willingly move closer to the source of its fear, but it can still attack teammates right next to them that aren't in your direction. So if their teammates are near you, enemies can't get closer to them or you. If they're already closer, they can attack, or if they can run away and attack an enemy, they can. So let's get that out of the way. Next, your actions per turn is 2, plus, you have a third attack as a bonus action with armed strike while being a werewolf. So let me show you all that real quick. Let's actually show you the werewolf transformation. That's the main thing of this build. Blood Hunter Order, Werewolf Transformation. Let's go to your hybrid form. Your stats change, everything changes. So now you have a 16 to AC. Your resistance to bludgeoning and striking from non-magical and not silvered weapons. Your advantages are a lot against being charmed, on strength, on dex, while not blinded. This is saving throws, by the way. +2 to con, dex, and strength. Always great. For most of the stuff, it's just to recall your information about stuff like that. Athletics is your hybrid transformation. History is both of them, actually. You can't get double advantage, but this is also really great. It helps you basically recall lore about anything that's mysterious or evil feeling. Instant nature, see, that's all the same thing. This is for heightened senses. Only a sight and smell, remember that. All this stuff is about that. And you can track. Hunter's Bane just gives you a lot of advantage on stuff. And your acrobatics and stuff is going to be very high. You're very strong, very fast werewolf right now, with also a speed of 45 and swimming of 45, which I'm a crocodile, basically. A lizard folk werewolf, but just more of an alligator type thing. 45 swimming speed. I get you in water. I realized this as I was making this character. If I was to get a creature in water, they're done for. If I was able to grapple them and drag them into water with around a speed of 30 feet, you get 15 feet. I get 20 feet. I would basically get 25 feet if they round up of dragging speed. Just drag someone in some water with me. That's a very rare situation, but fighting in water when you don't have a swimming speed, you get disadvantage on almost every attack. So it's just really not fun for the person underwater with you. The maul is my weapon when I'm not transformed, but when you transform, you're going to be using these unarmed strike claws, strength base. And look at that modifier. That's a +8 modifier. You have a +3 weapon basically at level 18. You have a +2 weapon at 11. Oh, wait, no, at, shoot. What level was it? Let's go back and check that. You have a +2 weapon at a very low level. At 11, you get a +2 to attack rolls, so never mind. 11, you get a +2 to attack rolls, and then it is Advanced Transformation. You regain... Actually, I think that's it. I think that's where you get it. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll check that out later. Or maybe it's this one. No, you get a +2 at 11. Okay. A +2 weapon at level 11. That's pretty good, basically, with your claws. You'll be doing 8 damage, and you're like, oh, 8 damage, that's a lot. You get 3 attacks. That's 24 automatic damage if you hit. No, because you can also rage. That's 30 damage per hit plus the roll of the dice if you're raging. That's just straight up 30 damage. At level, if you're -2, then that's 26 damage. No, I'm very bad at math. That's 24 damage for 3 attacks at level 11. So maybe I'm doing the math wrong in my head right now, but I'm trying to hurry up with this. I don't want the videos to be too long. Maybe I should get better at math. That's pretty much it. I'll show you the average damage of attacks by just clicking on them once. That's going to be your first attack. You're going to be doing 16, 17, 18 damage while raging. 18 plus... Okay, not that bad. That's 10. That's 12. That's 30 damage already. Okay, 42 damage per attack. It's not bad. Oh, wait, my bad. 44, because I keep forgetting the +2. So +2, 18. See, I'm very bad at math. I was doing math correctly. 18, 12, 14. 18, 12, that's 30. 14, 44. If I did math wrong, it's very embarrassing right there. Too much things to think about. Now I know why it's hard for YouTubers to do math, because they're always thinking of other things while doing a video. You get some natural. Remember the Jaws thing. Just trying to remind you, but this build is pretty good. You know, you're a huge tank. You're just a giant monster fighting in the battlefield. Your disadvantages are being charmed and frightened, and definitely you do not want to be going in a bloodlust state while near your friends. If you want to build this for more of a dex build, it will be about the same damage, to be fair, because you can attack dex with claws. And you will definitely have a higher AC. Almost a 21 AC, if I'm correct. Let's do a +5 on this real quick. Yeah, you'll have a 21 AC and a 20 in base form, so Dex is the way to go if you want playing more of a weird... Oh, that's definitely not what I want. If you're playing a weird class where a werewolf is more dexterous and strength-wise, but you can always get proficient in athletics and all this stuff with advantage in athletics. It should be fine. It's probably the more optimal build, in my opinion, but this is how I like to play, with a certain character in mind that's strong werewolf transformation. But I want to thank y'all for watching. If I forgot anything, please leave it in the comments below. There's many things I probably forgot about this build that you can do. But please leave a like and maybe even subscribe. I usually never say that, but I'm being a sellout. And